What's up, guys? Welcome to the San Diego Scoop. This week, I'm talking about a huge redevelopment that's going to totally change University City, United Airlines making a comeback to North County, some big moves in commercial real estate, and more changes coming for vacation rentals. It's a busy week as always, so make sure you stay till the end because this stuff really impacts your life here in San Diego. All right, now let's jump right into the big story. This one's going to reshape a whole neighborhood and affect a lot of residents. The San Diego City Council just approved plans to totally redo Costa Verde Center in University City. And when I say totally, I mean they're turning the old shopping center into a full mixed-use community. The project, led by Westfield and Storm Real Estate, will bring up to 1,850 homes, 420,000 square feet of commercial space, and a 150-room hotel to the site. Now, this isn't happening overnight. It's a phased project that'll take more than 10 years to finish, but the plan's pretty ambitious. They're keeping some of the stores that work, like Trader Joe's and the AMC movie theater, but everything else is getting reimagined with more housing, better walkability, parks, pedestrian areas, and easier access to public transit. And the location's really what makes this so interesting. Costa Verde sits right between UTC Mall and UC San Diego, in one of the most central parts of University City. It's got freeway access, trolley access, and close to jobs, schools, and the coast. Now, if you live in University City or nearby, get ready. You're looking at more than a decade of construction. That means road closures, detours, noise, dust, and traffic backups. Sounds fun, right? Now, if you drive through that area to get to work or drop off your kids off at school, your route's probably going to be affected at some point. I've seen this happen with other big projects. Streets get torn up, left turns get blocked, parking disappears. It's going to be frustrating to say the least, especially in the first few years when they're doing heavy demolition. But here's the upside. Right now, Costa Verde is just another car-dependent shopping center. You drive there, you park, you shop, you leave. There's nothing really walkable or community-focused about it. This new plan's supposed to change all of that. If you live in the new housing or nearby, you'll be able to walk to restaurants, shops, maybe grab coffee without even getting in your car. And that's a real quality of life boost. Less driving, less gas money, less time sitting in parking lots. And for people working at UCSD or in Sorrento Valley, this adds housing way closer to your job. That could mean a 10-minute commute instead of 45. That's hours back in your week, more time with your family, more time doing literally anything other than sitting on the 5 freeway. And if you've got kids at UCSD, same thing. Instead of living far away or paying crazy rent for student housing, they might actually find a place they can afford within walking distance of campus. And speaking of getting more time back, I'm going to tell you in a few minutes about another big change coming to a San Diego neighborhood that's been dealing with way too many tourists, so stick around. But let's go back to the redevelopment and talk about the stuff nobody mentions in press releases. First of all, parking. You're adding 1,850 homes to an area that's already packed during rush hour and anytime there's something going on at UTC or UCSD. Unless they build massive parking structures or improve transit a ton, where are all these people going to park? And if you live nearby, you're probably already dealing with UCSD students parking on your street. Now add almost 2,000 more units worth of cars, street parking is going to get a lot tougher. Traffic's another issue. Genesee Avenue and La Jolla Village Drive are already packed during commute hours. Now they're adding all these people, cars, and shops. So unless they improve road infrastructure or make trolleys super convenient, traffic is going to get worse before it gets better. The trolley access could help though, if they design it right and make it easy to hop on and hop off for downtown trips. It could actually cut down car use. But that's a big if here in San Diego. Most so-called transit-friendly projects still end up being car-heavy because it's easier. And here's another big question. Will any of this actually be affordable? But if every apartment's $3,000 a month and every condo's over $700,000, that doesn't really help regular folks. It just adds more options for people who already have money. The phase plan makes sense though. Doing it all at once would be chaos. Spreading it over 10 plus years lets the neighborhood adjust, gives infrastructure time to catch up, and it lets them tweak things if needed. But the execution's everything. If they do it right, it could be a real game changer. If it's just more expensive apartments with bad parking and traffic, it'll make life harder for everyone already there. And let's just be honest about the timeline. 10 plus years means most of us won't see the final version anytime soon. And if you're buying in University City hoping to profit from it, that's a long-term bet. The first 5 years are probably going to be rough with construction, but the payoff could come later. University City's been underrated for years. It's not quite as flashy as La Jolla or as trendy as North Park, but it's got good bones. And projects like this show developers and the city finally see that potential too. So if you live there, yeah, you're going to deal with some headaches, but in 10 or 15 years, you might end up being one of the most improved neighborhoods in San Diego. That's worth something. All right, before we move on to the other scoops, if you're still watching, it means you care about what's really happening here in San Diego, not just the flashy headlines. That's what we do here every week on the San Diego Scoop, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Okay, now let's head up to North County for some news that's actually going to make life easier for people up there, including myself. United Airlines is coming back to Carlsbad's airport in 2026. They're launching daily flights to San Francisco and Denver, which is a big deal if you live anywhere in North County. United pulled out during the pandemic in 2020, so this is part of the airport's plan to rebuild commercial service and give people up there a real alternative to driving all the way down to San Diego Airport. Now, if you live in Carlsbad, Encinitas, Oceanside, or San Marcos, you already know how annoying it is to get to the airport downtown. You're looking at 45 minutes to an hour with good traffic and way longer during rush hour. And if you got an early flight, you're waking up at 4 a.m. just to make it on time. So having United at Carlsbad means you can leave your house maybe an hour before your flight instead of 2.5 hours. That's real time back in your day. The airport's also just easier to deal with. It's smaller, it's less crowded, and has faster security. You're not fighting through huge lines or waiting 30 minutes for an Uber pickup. Now, the downside of these flights out of smaller airports usually cost more than flying from big ones. So yeah, it's convenient, but you'll pay an extra $50 to $100 per ticket for that. In my opinion, it's probably worth it. Right now, United's only flying to San Francisco and Denver, so if you're heading somewhere else, you'll have to connect. American Airlines and JSX also fly out of Carlsbad. So between all three, North County residents finally have real options. You can hop quick flights to LA, Vegas, Phoenix, or San Francisco without ever having to fight traffic all the way down to San Diego Airport. And honestly, JSX is my personal favorite. If you've never flown with them, it almost feels like you're on a private plane. No long TSA lines, no chaos, you just walk in, check in, and you're in the air within minutes. Once you try it, it's really hard to go back to regular airports, so just FYI. Even with that, it's still a quality of life win. If you've been living in North County and dreading that airport drive for years, this is a nice change. It also shows a lot about the area. Airlines don't add routes unless they see demand. United coming back means they think enough people in North County are flying to make it worth it. So that's a sign of growth and investment up there. Now, from a practical angle, if you work remotely or travel for your job sometimes, living in North County just got a lot more appealing. You've got the lifestyle, the beaches, less congestion than central San Diego, and now easier access to flights. It's not revolutionary by any means, but it's useful. It takes away one of the biggest hassles of living up here. Alright, gearheads, this one's huge. For the first time ever, NASCAR is bringing its top racing series to San Diego, and it's happening at one of the most unexpected spots you could imagine, Naval Base Coronado. Yeah, you heard that right. So the same base where Navy SEALs train is turning into a 3.4 mile, 16-turn street course for one wild weekend of racing in June 2026. This isn't just another event on the NASCAR calendar, it's history. It'll be the first NASCAR race ever held on an active military base, and it's all part of the Navy's 250th anniversary celebration. The weekend is pretty stacked too. You got the Truck Series on Friday, June 19th, which I believe is only open to Coronado residents and military personnel. Then you got the Xfinity Series on Saturday, June 20th, and then the big one, the Cup Series on Sunday, June 21st. NASCAR released a video showing off the track layout, and honestly, it looks pretty cool. Tight corners, ocean views, jets in the background. This is going to be one of the most scenic races in NASCAR history. And yes, fans can attend. They're expecting tens of thousands of people, with everything from grandstands and VIP suites to general admission areas right on the base. Now, before you start planning your tailgate, here's the catch. For now, it's just a one-year deal. NASCAR says they'd love to be back to Coronado in the future seasons, but this could also be a one-time thing. It's been a while since San Diego hosted something on this scale outside of Comic-Con, of course, and honestly, I'm curious to see how smoothly it all runs. Coronado traffic already gets pretty wild on a normal weekend, so throw in thousands of race fans and that bridge could turn into a parking lot real fast. I think I might take a boat over. Not sure the island's ready for that kind of crowd, but hey, I guess we'll find out. Okay, next up, a brand new food hall is coming to UC San Diego's Theater District, and it's looking like one of the coolest new openings of 2026. It's called Station 8 Public Market, and it'll feature 10 international restaurants, 2 bars, and a room for over 300 people, all right next to the La Jolla Playhouse. And the group behind it, Tiger Hospitality, is the same team rebranding the Little Italy Food Hall this fall, and Station 8's set to open next August. And what makes this spot stand out is that it's bringing in locally owned restaurants instead of chain brands, which is awesome for both UCSD folks and anyone in the area who just wants good food close by. The design of the market is by Basil Studio, the same people behind Born and Raised by Wolves, so you already know this place is going to look really good. The bottom floor will have those global food booths and 2 bars, and the mezzanine will host another concept that hasn't been announced quite yet. But the goal here is to make this area a public gateway to UCSD, not just for the students, but also for the 100,000 plus people who visit the Playhouse every single year. So yeah, between the theater crowds, locals, and students, this place is going to be packed. And honestly, it's another big win for La Jolla's growing food scene, so between this project and the Costa Verde redevelopment, this area could look a lot different over the next decade. And speaking of things heating up, San Diego's back at it with a new vacation rental tax plan. San Diego city leaders are once again trying to tax short-term rentals like Airbnb and VRBOs, and this time is part of a bigger plan to fix the city's budget issues. Now, the idea is pretty simple on paper. Hotels already pay tourism taxes, so the city wants short-term rentals to do the same. And this money would go toward things like maintaining beaches, parks, and infrastructure. You know, the stuff that tourists use just as much as locals do. Now, if you own a vacation rental though, this one could hit your wallet pretty hard. A new tax could mean higher nightly rates, lower profits, or for some owners, deciding whether it's even worth keeping the property as a short-term rental. Now, if you live in a neighborhood packed with vacation rentals like Mission Beach, Pacific Beach, or even parts of La Jolla, you might actually be happy about this one. More regulation and higher costs could mean fewer transient guests and more full-time residents. Fewer party houses, less noise, less turnover, every single weekend, basically a more stable neighborhood. But here's where it gets a little bit tricky. A lot of regular homeowners rely on short-term rentals just to make their mortgage payments. Maybe they rent out a granny flat or a room in the summer just to cover property taxes. And if this tax cuts too deep, they could be forced to sell or stop renting altogether. And that has ripple effects. If a bunch of smaller hosts sell off, you'll probably see big investors and corporations take over that space, the ones who can actually absorb the extra costs. So ironically, a tax meant to regulate vacation rentals could actually push out local owners and make the system even less personal. Now on the flip side, if the city can pull it off the right way, with fair rates and smart enforcement, it could help stabilize neighborhoods and bring in millions in new revenue. It seems like this debate's been going on for years, and every time the city tries to regulate, someone sues or just pushes back. This new version seems like it could be a compromise, but we'll see if it actually sticks. And if you're affected either as an owner, a neighbor, or even just someone who likes to rent Airbnbs for staycations, it's worth watching closely. The decisions made over the next few months could shape what San Diego's coastal neighborhoods look and feel like for years to come. Alright guys, that's this week's scoop. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So what do you guys think? Are you guys excited about the Costa Verde project or dreading 10 years of construction? Ugh. And what about that NASCAR race down in Coronado? It seems pretty cool, right? Do you think Coronado can handle it? Time will tell. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys all think. Oh, and hey, if you're thinking about buying or selling here in San Diego, or just want to know how all these changes might affect your neighborhood, shoot me an email at bern@off56.com and let's chat. Oh, and before you go, don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where we break down more of what's really happening around San Diego and how it impacts your everyday life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.